So the Ninjago videos definitely don't perform nearly as well on this channel, so to hammer that nail into the coffin even more, let's do another Ninjago video. We're actually going to be taking a look at the March 2023 wave of figures, of sets as well. And yeah, I wanted to talk about it because there's actually something I wanted to bring up about Bionicle. But that said, because these videos didn't do well, hey, make sure you're subscribed. It really does help out the channel. And of course, it helps feed that hungry algorithm. All right, let's go ahead and hop on over. So the first set that we see here is actually quite exciting, in my opinion, especially if you're someone that likes scenes like this. It is a facade build for sure. I don't know that I'll be picking it up, of course, since I don't really collect Ninjago itself. But this right here is set number 1813, the Wolf Mask Shadow Dojo, and will retail for $119.99, so $120 US. We're just gonna round. It has 8 minifigures though, which is actually a pretty good deal for this set specifically, and I don't actually think this one is terribly overpriced. It feels right. There seems to be a lot of new and interesting stuff in this set, and though I'm not really like zooming into all of this stuff, it's done really well, all things considered. We have this like moon print piece here or something else. I'm not actually even sure what that piece is to begin with, but it's kind of cool. And apparently that's going to play some significance with like the new weapon that comes with some of these characters, which you should see a little bit closer in some of these other images. Really neat set. Very excited to see it for sure. And interestingly, we're seeing new outfits for some of the characters, new armor for some of the characters, and the return of the upper headpiece, Balaclava, something like that. Anyway, from a previous wave as well, which I think is kind of interesting. So it's definitely a weird year for Ninjago for sure, especially since January was, well, this month. All right, let's go ahead and hop on over to the next one here, right? So this one is the Dragon Stone Shrine with 1,212 pieces, also retailing for $120 in the US, and has 6 minifigures in it as well. I don't know where this takes place. I don't know if this is like canonical or anything like that, but as a display piece, this looks beautiful. Like honestly, this looks so good. We've seen stone like dragon-esque things in Ninjago before. The Thunder Keeper's Village really has something like that in it as well, not to this degree or this detail, of course. And this feels like an adult-oriented play set, and I really like that because it's a good display. It has this lovely cherry blossom like tree on it here as well, which is done really nicely. And even if you didn't want to display this with the figures, I think this is a good sort of thing that you could just have on a shelf just to stir conversation. This is a wonderful little set here, I think, in my opinion. And though it does definitely look like it has a pretty small footprint given the amount of parts, I've seen some pictures of the internals on this, and there are some really interesting things going on, as well as a handful of little features. So definitely a cool one, but we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one, because this is one that I wouldn't say excited for. This one is actually one that really confuses me because it looks cool. I love the color scheme here with the dark blue and this Keith orange or bright yellowish orange, whatever you want to call this color, right? However, it is overpriced, like I don't know how. So this is called Aaron's Off-Road Ninja Buggy Car, as if like Lego needed to plug some SEO word count or something like that. 267 pieces for $50 US. That is an insane markup, even for something like this. And yes, I understand there are some chunky pieces in here. There's windscreen here. These wheels are a brand new recolor, but none of these are new pieces. Really, the only new piece I see outside of the figures here is this hook. That hook looks lovely, by the way. I've always been a big fan of that blade piece on the front of the car seen here that came out a handful of years ago now. It's a gorgeous piece, and I love that it's a small kind of subdued weapon. It's subtle. It doesn't try to bring too much attention to itself, but the shaping of it is really nice. So to get claws in that same aesthetic, get hooks, especially as a Bionicle lover, yeah, I'm real happy about this. I do hope that we see those pieces recolored in maybe gunmetal in the future as well. I have plans for them, but suffice to say, they look great here, even in gold as well. And gold seems like a pretty heavy color for this whole Dragon's Rising thing, right? That said, though, you get 4 figures here, plus, of course, the baby Rayu as well. But $50 for this set feels really bad. And I don't know if the set itself has any sort of features. I can see a frictionless pin in the back here, so maybe there's some kind of suspension thing going on. Really not sure. It's just so overpriced. Like, why? Why? I don't get it. Lego has made these wheels for years now, and they themselves have not really driven up the prices of things they've been included into. So to see it here feels like something's going on. I don't really like it. This is definitely one I would say skip. $30, maybe. 50? No, absolutely not. But the next one, now this one I actually am excited for. This is Kai's Ninja Climber Mech. It has 4 minifigures and retails for $70 for 623 pieces. This one actually feels pretty good, all things considered. Yes, $70 for a little over 600 pieces is a bit overpriced, but seeing the size of this thing, I've actually seen this, not in real life, of course, but in videos where the actual model has been displayed, and it's decently large, surprisingly. It actually also includes, and I love this, the piston piece from Bionicle from 2006, the Axon Brutaka Finrack sets, and so it's lovely to see that here because I just utilized pistons in my Elemental Dragon revamp mod thing. Granted, not the older Bionicle style of pistons, but it's really nice to see something like that here. So I'm super happy to see that. I do hope that there's a future where that piece actually gets modified or maybe even redesigned to stick out a little less on certain types of builds, but that's nothing to focus on. This looks good. The shaping on it is good. The color scheme is good. I love the idea of the 4 claws here. Yes, it has the pre-bent limbs, unfortunately. Lego really needs to come out with a version that can bend for adult fans. Leave these for like smaller builds, leave these for kids, but have a version with like a proprietary socket or something with a good amount of friction in it, and I think you're golden. So it just needs to be a little bit better. That's all. All right. But that said, let's go ahead and head on into the next one here, which is Young Dragon Rayu. This one has 132 pieces, and it will retail for about $15 to $16 here in the US with 3 minifigures, as you can see. And of course, grown-up Rayu here, or at least young Rayu here. Some time has apparently passed at some point in this part of the story. Love seeing these wings here in sand blue. Sand blue is just a color that needs more love in general, and thankfully we do see it. When we see it used, it's usually used pretty well. So you're getting that larger, more specialized armor add-on piece here, which I do like as armor. I don't know how I feel about it as a body specifically. It feels a little overly specialized. But yeah, fine, whatever. That's no big deal. And getting it in sand blue, hey, cool. Nice use of parts and a nice way to get a part in a new color. I'm not going to complain. Head mold here, I am a little bit against this one, unfortunately. I have stood up for the head molds for the recent Dragon sets, mostly because they're still like 2-piece head pieces and they've got connection points on them. This one doesn't seem to have any connection points out of whatever is attaching to the body itself. And that really bothers me. I don't know if the head has articulation. I really hope so. I feel like there's probably a mixile ball joint or something that connects underneath it. And I imagine it has connectivity underneath. But I would have loved to have seen this be 2 separate pieces. So you had an upper jaw and a lower jaw, and then give us those bar connections so it works in a similar way to other models. It's still a cute piece, of course, and as, a sort of namesake character for Dragon's Rising, with the Rayu character being this sort of like cute character that kids are always going to want, filling that role of like the Disney animal in a bunch of different films, it makes sense for them to have something like this. I think growing it up this fast, though, is probably a bad idea. But hey, if it's a 1-year-old dragon or whatever, it's still it's cute. It looks good. It looks fine. And for $16, $15, whatever in there, it's decent. There are 3 figures here, which is pretty good. There are a decent amount of proprietary and new exclusive pieces in here as well. I imagine we'll maybe see the Rayu head again up here later. Plus that new climbing hook piece, which is in a handful of the sets as well, is a really nice piece. Also, it has the dragon head on top, mimicking some other, Ninjago weapons from the past. Moving on to the last one, these have already been leaked. We've seen these ones for a while, so I'm not really going to focus too much on them, but I just want to go ahead and make sure that I mentioned them here as well. You can see that the head pieces on these ones are definitely from the January wave of Dragon's Rising, sort of, but then you can see Kai here is wearing the climbing. So yeah, it's a little bit weird why some of these are coming out in March. And also, again, why the headpieces are switching in general so often. Not that it's a bad thing. I think they all look good, so I'm not going to complain about it. I really like the January headpieces. It's a return to form for sure with the dual molded like wrap around the hood. But I love it, and it comes in so many different colors already. Hopefully we get to see it in even more colors. With that said though, that's basically everything I wanted to go ahead and cover in this video. I am really excited, all things said, about this new wave coming up for Ninjago. It feels like it's weird to me that Lego has sort of branched out, spaced out how it's releasing its sets these last few years, because obviously in the past we always had like a January release and an August release usually, and now we're starting to see like January into March and then August into October. So it's like Lego's trying to get this like 4-wave thing going on. It's really strange, and I don't know if that's working out for them necessarily, but at the same time, this is a lot of sets if you think about it. If you look at this all as like wave 1 of Ninjago for 2024, that's a lot of sets. You know, we just looked at 5, 2 more at the very end with the what is it, Lloyd's Elemental Mech? Don't quote me on that. And of course the Fire Source Dragon as well. So that's 7 sets for March, not to mention the little gimmick dragons that we got, the 4 mechs that we got. Like, there are a lot of sets going on here, and 2 of them at the $100 price point as well. That's pretty cool. So I am very excited to see what the future holds. I really want to get my hands on those hook pieces as well. I definitely will be. We'll see how that works. And maybe there's some point in the future we end up doing a review on the Climber Mech or something else. I don't really, like I said, collect Ninjago necessarily as a theme, but there's always things that we can learn about it. And of course, if that is content that you guys would like to see, well, more power to you, you know? So I do think that I will enjoy it either way. So if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It does really help out the channel. And of course, as always, you can join the conversation in the comments below or check out the Discord, Instagram, or Patreon if you want to support the channel. Get some perks in the description, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.